Good evening. The UK is not remotely a corrupt country. That was the Prime Minister's robust defence of the United... Sure.
In Glasgow to talk about climate change.
Has Sir Geoffrey Cox broken the law?
But as he headed to COP26, questions over his former Attorney General had followed him from Westminster. The Prime Minister is back here to try to push world leaders towards consensus in the final days of this conference.
Does Sir Geoffrey Cox have your backing?
As well as rescuing COP, he's also been forced to fend off allegations of sleaze on the world stage.
I genuinely believe that the UK is not remotely a corrupt country, nor do I believe that our institutions are corrupt. And I think it's very, very important to say that. We have a very, very tough system of parliamentary democracy and scrutiny, and not least by the media. And I think everybody can see that.
Sir Geoffrey Cox insists he's not broken parliamentary rules. The Conservative MP has earned around £1 million in the past year on top of his parliamentary salary. He's faced criticism after this footage emerged of him apparently using his Westminster office for private work, which is not allowed. Labour has referred his case to the Independent Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards.
Once again, we find Conservative MPs breaking the rules to make thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds for themselves and seeing being an MP as a leg up towards making sure they can make their own personal gain. This is not acceptable. We're here to represent our constituents, not represent ourselves, and it stinks of sleaze and corruption.
Downing Street is still dealing with the fallout from Owen Paterson's resignation following a lobbying row.
Boris Johnson's here in Glasgow. I welcome that. I think he should stay here in Glasgow until the end of this summit so that we are all pushing for success. And I stand ready to do anything and everything I can to support that. Right now, we'll have time next week for our political disagreements. Right now, the future of the planet and future of the generations that come after us depend on us pulling together and working together to get the right outcome.
Meanwhile, Aberdeenshire MP Andrew Bowie is to quit as a vice-chairman of the Conservative Party, saying he wants to focus on his constituency. As the Prime Minister left Glasgow, the issue of MP second jobs is once again in the spotlight. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
Aberdeen's ambition of becoming a world leader in hydrogen has been boosted by millions of pounds of funding. The Scottish Government has announced it'll provide £15 million for a hydrogen hub. Here's Stephen Brown.
Hydrogen buses have been around Aberdeen city streets for years, part of the region's wider hopes to capitalise on the move to greener energy. Plans are in place for a so-called hydrogen hub, which could power the city's housing, heating and transport over the next decade. Today it was announced that the Scottish Government would be investing £15 million in the project.
We've made significant investments ourselves, £35 million over the last almost 10 years into hydrogen, because we see it not only helping with that climate change agenda, but also help us to stimulate economic growth. And we think we've got the skills and technology within the city and the region already through oil and gas that we can transfer into renewable energies such as hydrogen.
As we move from oil and gas to power homes and vehicles, the use of hydrogen will be vital to reaching net zero. Today, the Scottish Government produced its draft plan for the energy source for the next 5 years, including £100 million of funding.
Scotland's got a massive abundance of natural resources, about 25% of Europe's offshore wind resources, about 25% of our tidal resources, about 10% of our wave resources, including huge assets in Scotland in terms of onshore wind and hydro, all of which can be put to work to create green hydrogen and renewable hydrogen.
Orkney's natural resources means it is already at the fore of hydrogen made from tidal power. This firm have created batteries that help store the power generated from the renewables that's used to create hydrogen.
What we're doing there is we're taking marine fueled power, power coming from the tides, putting that into our batteries, and charging the batteries and discharging them 4 times a day as the tides ebb and flow. That clean, stable power that comes out of our battery is then used to generate green hydrogen, making sure that homes can be heated, vehicles can be run, and that green hydrogen is available to help us on our path towards net zero.
There are also plans for a hydrogen plant at St Fergus, and there are real hopes for hydrogen, with the belief it could provide the country with nearly a sixth of its energy needs by 2030. Stephen Brown, STV News.
Police are investigating after the body of a man was discovered at a flat in Aberdeen. Officers were called to a property on the city's Uchard Road just after midday following the death of a 51-year-old man. A grant scheme for talented runners set up by the family of a Team GB athlete who died in a run in Perthshire is receiving its first applications. Chris Smith's body was found in the Glenlyon area last year. The 43-year-old died of hypothermia. £24,000 has been raised to support other athletes. Tennis, and Andy Murray produced one of his best performances since his hip surgery, beating top seed Yannick Sinner to reach the quarter-finals of the Stockholm Open. Murray produced a clean and impressive display, breaking his 20-year-old opponent twice in the second set on the way to a 7-6, 6-3 victory. And now here's Philip with a look at the weather forecast.
Blue skies and sunshine are in the forecast. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello there. Well, as we head through the rest of this evening and overnight, we are starting to see a bit of a change. It was a dry beginning to the night, but now we're seeing cloud thickening from the northwest ahead of this cold front that's moving in. That's bringing with it strong winds, possibly reaching gusts of 55 miles per hour around the coast. As it moves southeastwards, it brings with it a band of heavy showers. Could hear the odd rumble of thunder at times and see a mixture of hail. Temperature-wise, not as cold as last night. Lows of around 3 or 4 degrees thanks to all the wind, the rain and the cloud. Now looking ahead to tomorrow, that front will start to decay quite quickly through the course of the morning. Showers fade, still 1 or 2 lingering across the far west, but the best of the weather will be during the morning. Dry and bright conditions once again. Before late afternoon we'll see that cloud building from the southwest once again and further spells of rain moving in. Temperature wise, average for the time of year, reaching highs of 11 or 12 degrees. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And that's all from the late team in Aberdeen. Have a very good night.